Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's an absolute game changer for hospitality in one of the world's most dynamic markets. We're moving away from guesswork and toward guaranteed growth by mastering revenue management specifically for Thai hotels. We're going to take those unique rhythms of Thailand's seasons, the monsoons, the wild festivals, the massive high seasons, and turn them into a powerhouse data-driven revenue engine. And the best part? This works for absolutely any property. Whether you've got a cozy boutique guest house up in Chiang Mai or a sprawling luxury resort down in Phuket. Let's get right into it.
Here's our game plan, a clean 5-part playbook. We'll hit the rhythms of Thai tourism, the dynamic pricing playbook, forecasting to predict the future, mastering distribution channels, and finally, building your revenue engine.
Okay, part 1. Rhythms of Thai tourism, understanding market cycles.
To kick things off, let's look at this quote. Selling the right room to the right guest at the right time for the right price. That is the golden rule, right? It's not just some flashy corporate buzzword meant for massive global chains. It's an absolute necessity for every single Thai hotelier. Think about it. Every unsold room tonight is just revenue lost forever. Poof, gone.
Now, Thailand's climate and culture creates some pretty extreme shifts in demand. You've got your high season stretching from November to February, bringing in all those international tourists escaping the winter freeze. Then comes the shoulder season, March to May. This is when domestic travel really spikes for school breaks and, of course, Songkran. Finally, the low season hits from June to October as the monsoons roll in. Grasping these distinct valleys and peaks, that's step 1 to getting your pricing right.
So the real puzzle here is figuring out exactly who is traveling and when. Western tourists are usually locking in those winter escapes months in advance, but your domestic guests, well, they're looking at long weekends, often booking just days before the water starts flying at Songkran. Knowing these wildly different lead times completely shifts how and exactly when you need to prep your marketing and pricing strategies.
Moving right along to part 2, the dynamic pricing playbook, moving beyond fixed rates.
Imagine the financial drain of using outdated, static pricing. Keeping your rates exactly the same, whether it's a massive holiday weekend or a quiet, rainy Tuesday, that just doesn't make sense anymore. Compare that to dynamic pricing, where you're adjusting rates in real time based on actual demand. It's literally how you make sure you never leave money on the table when demand shoots up, and, importantly, you don't sit completely empty when things slow down.
But that brings us to a really fascinating challenge. If static pricing is dead and we're constantly tweaking our prices in real time, how on earth do we know what number to actually pick? How do you set the absolute perfect price on a random Tuesday?
To nail that perfect price, you really need a daily checklist of data points. For instance, are you already 80% full? Bump the rate up. Is a huge local festival about to kick off? Raise it again. But wait, what if a sudden storm hits and your competitors completely slash their prices out of panic? Well, instead of undercutting your own brand, maybe you add some value, like throwing in a free spa credit. That way you stay competitive while totally protecting your premium image. All right, part 3, forecasting, predicting the future. Let's use data to anticipate demand. Before we start predicting the future, let's demystify a super important piece of industry jargon, RevPAR, or revenue per available room. You get this by multiplying your average daily rate by your occupancy rate. Why should you care? Because RevPAR is basically your ultimate health metric. You could have 100% occupancy, sure, but if you sold all those rooms for literal pennies, your RevPAR is going to be terrible. This metric is what actually tells you if your pricing strategies are translating into real bankable profit. And listen, forecasting doesn't have to be some intimidating, overly complex thing. It really breaks down into a simple 4-step daily routine. Step 1, analyze your historical data. What exactly happened this week last year? Step 2, identify demand drivers. Is there a big local event coming up? Step 3, build out a forecast calendar to pinpoint those high-demand compression nights. And step 4, set your rock-solid pricing strategy based on that calendar. Now, your absolute gold standard target here is 90%. I know, reaching a 90% weekly forecast accuracy sounds pretty high, but honestly, by diligently tracking your booking pace and looking at that historical data, it's totally achievable. Hitting this 90% mark ensures you're running your business on solid, undeniable data instead of just crossing your fingers and relying on risky gut feelings.
On to part 4, mastering distribution channels, balancing OTAs and direct bookings. So when it comes time to actually sell your rooms, you've basically got 2 main pathways, and they come with a massive trade-off.
On one hand, you have online travel agencies, or OTAs, think Agoda or Booking.com. They give you incredible global visibility, but they're going to hit you with a hefty 15 to 20% commission fee. On the other hand, you've got direct bookings through your own website or socials. Here, you have total control and only pay maybe 0 to 5% in fees, but you've got to hustle a bit harder to drive that traffic yourself.
The secret to navigating this trade-off is building a well-balanced portfolio. A really healthy channel mix looks something like this: 40% direct bookings, 40% OTAs, and 20% wholesalers or corporate systems. Striking this balance ensures you aren't overly reliant on, or frankly overly taxed by, any single third-party platform. It protects those precious profit margins while still keeping your brand visible all across the globe.
To put this into a real-world perspective, let's look at a boutique hotel in Chiang Mai from our source research. They decided to actively shift just 30% of their OTA bookings over to direct bookings simply by offering some exclusive perks on their website. And the result? No joke, they saved 200,000 Thai baht annually in commission fees. That is pure profit dropping straight to the bottom line. Money they can now use for property upgrades or rewarding their staff, all because of a simple strategy shift.
Finally, Part 5, Building Your Revenue Engine, Technology and the Human Element. You really don't need to be a tech wizard to run a modern hotel, but getting these 3 tools integrated is pretty much non-negotiable. First, your property management system, which handles your guests. Second, your channel manager, which automatically syncs your rates across all the different OTAs, saving you from disastrous overbookings. And third, your revenue management software, which analyzes the market and actually suggests optimal prices. Put them together and they completely automate the heavy lifting.
But here's the thing, the ultimate revenue engine isn't just a bunch of software. It needs a human touch. You need a truly collaborative team, a revenue manager to crunch the data, a distribution manager to handle those OTA relationships, and a marketing manager to go out and drive those highly profitable direct bookings. When these 3 folks are communicating clearly, you can make incredibly fast, data-driven decisions that leave your competition in the dust.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. Are you just sitting back waiting for the high season to happen to you, crossing your fingers that guests walk through the door? Or are you actively mastering your market, using hard data, dynamic pricing, and a perfectly balanced distribution mix? The tools to guarantee your growth are all right here in this playbook. The choice of how to use them is entirely up to you. Thanks for tuning in, and here's to mastering your revenue.